first off, I want to send my condolences to all the families of those who did tragically lose their lives, and indeed any of those that were injured through those collisions. Obviously, massively harrowing time for all those families, you know. I would say to you the trend has certainly changed in my view in the last couple of years through the volume of traffic on roads. You know, I drive a lot of the country in my role in the school meal side of it and that like, and all I can say to you is that I've seen the volume doubled, but that's brought about by say before COVID, maybe 19, you had 1.8 million working. You now have 2.8 million working, which obviously brings an awful lot more people onto the roads and increases the volume of traffic itself. So that is certainly a contributory factor. You know, more people on the road, sadly, more accidents. You know,
If that's just a reality of modern life, Tony, how do you mitigate the danger?
The way we are, you know. But it's like everything. We're trying to catch up, I suppose, with stuff. You know, I mean, what I would say to you, like, I mean, certainly trends I've noticed that we seem to have an awful lot of small, I call them smaller, faster cars with bigger engines. And one time, and I'm going to put it out there, I would say to the under 23s, 4s. That's not saying that others don't make mistakes, but I've seen the volume of speed increase in that category, that age category, quite a bit. They're driving little bullets and they think that they can fly around the place, you know, and putting it straight out to you. You know what I mean? That's what it is. You know what I mean? Some of us, I'm not sure how many were involved. I hope none in those accidents, but certainly speed, a risk. And I've been overtaken on service roads here in the town, you know, like, but a 50k speed limit that will be shortly dropped, hopefully to 30.
And indeed, you've spoken about the need for traffic calming measures in certain areas as well, Tony. Would you like 100%. To see more infrastructure introduced to curb that problem?
100%. The more we put in, the better. The more we slow it down, you know, it saves lives, and it certainly saves serious injuries. My colleagues had a motion on the other day in the data area there. And I mean, if an area is highlighted as being a problem, we as a council need to deal with that immediately. You know, there cannot be a wait, you know, if there's a high risk of accidents.
You mentioned your own area of Shannon. These figures also show us that South East Clare accounted for 13 of the fatal collisions between 2016 and 2024, which is the highest figure for any area, any region of the county. What do you put that down to? Is it driver behaviour, or are there particular issues in the region?
But down here, it's the volume of traffic. It's also the highest volume of traffic movements in the whole county, if not large parts of the country. I mean, you have the Shannon Industrial Estate, you have the airport, you have the Raheen Industrial Estate, and there's a huge amount of people trafficking across that area. Come they go there. I mean, an awful lot of people come in from West Clare, East Clare, sorry, they come over the mountain there at 6 Mile Bridge, down Kilkish and Kilmurray, you know, and they're to wrestle back through this area itself, you know. So that huge increase in volume of traffic. And I see it, Seán, you know what I mean? I don't have anyone to tell me, you know what I mean? I physically see the massive increase in volumes, which will obviously lead to more accidents, you know. Now, I know, look, I mean, certainly talking to the first responders, quite a lot of the stuff on the N18 is driver issues, you know, mistake, somebody doing something wrong. You know, everybody thinks there's a bend in the road, but if you start down the bend in the road, it might be easier to negotiate.
You mentioned a cohort of the population at the beginning that you believe are partially responsible for this worrying trend. Would you like to see more driver education?
Yeah, I don't want to blame any particular group, but all I can tell you is that I drive every single day and have done for a long number of years, right? And all I can say is that the level of speed from a certain cohort has increased dramatically, right? I've seen chances taken, I've seen speed that are well above the normal, you know, trying in a rush to get someplace. You have cars 1.6, 1.8 litres that are small cars, big engine, you know, they can fairly shift along like. And, you know, I've seen that category. And I just said to that, it's like when you're going out every day. But you know what I find very helpful? The warning signs, to tell you, the 50k signs on some of the roads, like you're moving along. And like the cars are so powerful now, geez, you don't even know what speed you're doing early, you know. But they're very, very, I find those very effective. Jesus, I was close to that, you know what I mean? At least it gives you an indicator. So I'd like to see more of those, certainly.
More signage.
Warning signs, you know. Yeah, and much more, the flashing speed warning signs now. I find those excellent. I was in Dublin there the other day, and there's one, it's only the size of an A4 page or slightly bigger, which is very effective. Like, it sits right out on the edge of the road, you know, you can't miss it. Now I've seen we have bigger ones here in Shannon, we have big one, but I'd like to see more of those laid out. I think they would help massively, especially in black spot areas, you know.